Hello, 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 I am Val, or Valaris, but you can call me Val because Val is easier to remember and Valaris is too long to type. In today's video, I am just doing a speed paint of my OCs, a slight tutorial I guess, even though it won't be that great. On the screen right now are the brushes that I used. I will say the exact name of the brushes when I use them. Anyway, without further ado, we'll get into it. Starting off, I am going in with every color of the rainbow and marking out the shapes in these people and the poses so I can clearly see them and redraw them out myself. There is nothing wrong with tracing a photo if you are blocking in the shapes, but if you are just like completely outlining the people, you are not learning anything from it. There is productive tracing, I guess, and then non-productive, and non-productive is just completely outlining the people's poses. Whereas productive is, you know, mapping in all the shapes and then drawing it yourself. It's just studying, I suppose. Anyway, so now I'm going in with the background, which I am completely ripping off the photo because I didn't really know what I wanted to put in the background. Don't get too attached to it because a lot of this stuff does get cropped out. Merrick's pose does look a little weird to me. I did completely use the photo as a reference and you couldn't see her arm in the photo, but I don't know, for some reason the way I drew it, it looks so weird. Now I am going in with grays, mainly focusing on the values of the image. I think just using grays really helps you focus on that more than, you know, trying to do it with colors. Trying to just really create a lot of contrast so you see all the details when I add color later, and it also is really satisfying to see the color come to life on the image. I do also apologize for this being a really awful tutorial. I did a poll on Instagram and people wanted a short video with a tutorial. I could have done a short video with a story, but no, people wanted a tutorial, so now you're getting whatever the fuck this is. Those brick parts that I'm doing right now, such a pain. I could not get them right, and I don't even go on and fix them. It is tilted to the side, and you really see it when I like flip the canvas. It just doesn't look right. It really bothers me, and it gets cropped out later, so I guess it doesn't really matter. In the back, I'm going in with a really light color to put on the trees. Trees and bushes, really easy to do. I like to block out the shapes just with squiggles and then just go through and add lighting in squiggles. It doesn't even look perfect because it's a tree. Unless you're trying to go for like a really specific plant, but again, it doesn't even look perfect. It's nature. Nothing imperfect is nature. Nothing in nature is perfect, so I really like doing a lot more bushes and stuff to hide everything that I hate. These stairs that I'm doing right now, I do not keep them like that. I could not figure out how to make them look correct, so I just make them straight wooden poles. Again, they're not in the final image anyway. Again, going back in with this tree, you could really see that I'm just using a whole bunch of squiggles to map in the colors, and that is all I do for trees, unless I want to like give it a little more detail, then I might go through and do like some individual leaves. But I haven't been doing that recently. Call me lazy, I guess. I think I am now going to line the characters. No, I'm not. I'm going in with a darker color to really make the shadows impactful, for lack of a better phrase, I guess. Now I am going in and lining all the characters. I really like how Demir looks. I don't know, it's just... he just looks good. Whereas with Merrick, I really could not get him to look right. I just like how Demir looks in this. Can't explain it. So yeah, I'm just going in and lining, and as you can see, I'm doing like the basic outline, and then where lines kind of connect with each other, I'm making it a little darker in those areas. I'm not very consistent with that in this image, you can probably tell. Yes, I was listening to Rising Kingdom by Jordan Marin. I want to say fucking Jardine Maroon, but you know. Anyway, so yes, I am going in and doing the clothes are a pain. Yeah, so this hand, his arm, they were such a pain for me to do. I just hate drawing hands, and I hate drawing like really billowy sleeves too, because when I do them it just doesn't look right. But yeah, I do really like how Demir looks. Especially when I color him later. It just looks so good. But Merrick, I don't know, I just feel like I didn't capture how I think Merrick is enough. His face was such a struggle for me to get, and then he looks like a really like whimsical, doe-eyed child, which he isn't. I just can never draw Merrick right. And he's my character. You'd think I'd be able to draw him correctly, but I just fucking can't. I do like how he looks though, I just wish he didn't look so, I guess, childish. He's a fucking grown man. I did attempt to draw his crown, like the weird halo looking thing is his actual crown, but in a lot of times in drawings I just don't want to do it because I don't want to figure out the perspective for it, so I just skipped to no crown or giving him a really basic bitch crown. I did try and draw his hand behind his back because I didn't like how the pose was looking, but it looks even more awkward with his hand behind his back than it did before, so I get rid of that. It just didn't look right to me. Merrick's whole pose just doesn't look correct to me. And I'm sure I probably could go back and fix it, but I don't want to. Yeah, here I am going through and darkening a lot of the conjoining lines with just like black triangles. And I was trying to find where the liquefy tool was because I've never used it before, and I go through and liquefy a lot of the lines that I thought were a little too thick, which was because I just didn't like how Merrick looked. His lines still look so thick to me, but whatever, it is what it is. We're here now. So yeah, I'm just liquefying those lines. Oh no, I'm not. I was liquefying them, but then I spent my time trying to fill in all the tiny gaps so I could make a clipping layer. And now I am going in with the same sort of like values as the background. I could make them lighter than the background, but they wouldn't feel like incorporated into it, so I guess a little rule of thumb. Use the same sort of like grays throughout your piece. If I used like a white for their base, they would stand out too much, and it wouldn't look like they were in the image. It still doesn't look like they're in the image because they have a fucking outline on them, but you know, it just kind of helps to incorporate them a little more than, you know, if I just left it as like a pure white with grey shading. Okay, so for a lot of my shadows, I go through with the lasso tool to just get in the basic like rough in, I guess. I don't actually go through and fix it. I am trying to make this a very quick process, so I go through a lot with the lasso tool. And then I am going through and making all my grey parts orange, so my, like, when I do multiply, it's not... There's a difference when you multiply over grey versus the colour. So I just wanted my undertones to be orange, because I planned to do an afternoon look, but I also changed it at the end to not an afternoon look. Now I am adding all the colours, which you can really see, it brings life to the piece. The building in the back is red, and it kind of has some plants growing over it. Not that you can really tell, because all the greens that I put on it kind of look a little grey. Yeah, I was watching a lawyer, Legal Eagle, speak about all the illegal things that happen in movies. Really boring of me, I know. So yeah, I'm going in with some greens and some yellows to really add a life to these leaves. I focused the yellows more on the parts that are gonna be hit by the sun more. Well, at least in the image they're gonna be hit by the sun. And then you saw you're gonna see flashes of my actual drawing as I try to get all the colors for my characters. Look at how good Demir looks, dude. He isn't even done yet, but like, he looks good. Merrick's hair is a little too close to his skin in this, so I do darken it later. Not right now, it does happen later. But yeah, just going in, adding all these colors. And, well, I'm adding the colors and then multiplying them and kind of lowering the opacity, otherwise they would be a little too dark. I do think that I could have colored it better. I am using the lasso tool to block in a lot of my colors. Again, I use that a lot because it makes things so much quicker. And then I go through and like fix it up with a pen later, but like, I don't know, my colors are still really messy in the final piece too. That's just me being a perfectionist though. I kinda don't like the stripes on Merrick's suit, not that you can really see them that well when I multiply it, but you know. I do mess around with these really bright focused highlights. I do get rid of them, but they do come back later. But right now they kind of don't exist. At least not anymore. The sun has said goodbye. So yes, I don't know what I'm doing right now. Oh, now I'm going back in with the highlights again. I'm making them less big, I suppose. Kind of just making them a little, like, thinner than what they were. And then changing it more to an orange, which doesn't stay orange, but I kind of do that off camera. Now I'm kind of just making them look like they're actually like in a sunset-y-ish environment by adding a lot of like streaks of orange on a add glow layer, and then like a gradient from a darker orange to a lighter orange on a multiply layer. Then I went through on the ground and I did a lot of like squiggly shapes to kind of make it look like the light was shining through the tree leaves. Did I achieve that? Probably not. What am I doing right now? Oh, here is a crop. I crop it even more than that. It gets even more cropped. But I do that off camera, and then here is the full time lapse, which I will now shut up for. Apparently when I was editing this, I didn't think to check how long I put the final images up on the screen for, so I suppose I might as well give you a taste of a story that I'm writing about these characters and the town that they live in while we stare at these images that are up for way too fucking long. Casimir is a small port city on the outskirts of Nathan Dory, the air a mixture of the refreshing scent of the salty ocean breeze and the cries of fishermen as they cleared out their newest catches ready to sell at the markets. Most yelling at each other as a friendly competition, bragging about who brought in the most or the biggest fish while they rinsed off their equipment, ready for their next expedition out on the seas. While some just wanted to get home as soon as possible after spending many weeks out on the rocky, unforgiving sapphire abyss. The warm sunlight dappled on the ground as it shone through the leaves of the flora that grew around the port. The slight summer breeze making the little patterns of light dance like a kaleidoscope on the ground, a sight that many children enjoyed watching, but they feared what lay past the pretty facade of dancing lights. It was fanciful. The sky of green that threatened to take down the elegant man-made structures sat with them in harmony, the orchestra of birds singing a sweet symphony, drowned out by the cacophony of people chatting in irritating voices. The muddy colors of the docks nowhere to be seen, in its place a mess of bright colors, each threatening to outshine the other, yet all seeming dull in the overbearing array of paint that splattered and tainted this serene canvas. Instead, the few beiges and greys that wandered through the crowd stood out the most, dusty and begging for something better than what they had, staring in envy at the bright colours as they walked past and ignored their presence. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this wasn't too boring. I apologize for the ending. I didn't realize that I left my final images up for that long. Anyway, here is the final images, both of them. I changed it tonight by making all the oranges kind of blues. Yeah, anyway, thank you. I know I spelt the word socials wrong, but anyway, I've been Val. If you enjoyed, consider liking this. If you didn't, that's a problem I think you should get fixed. Bye.